everybody. Jamie Neave here from the Fisher Peak Performing Artists Society. A new special show called For the Record. We're here talking to a very special guest who has been performing and writing and working on her performance and music for many years. She's just one heck of a gal. And we're in Kimberley, BC in a really unique studio and looking forward to hearing all about the music of Heather Gemmell.
Hey Jamie, how's it going?
Very good, thank you. You know, it's a real pleasure because I've followed your career for quite a while. Obviously, we go back a ways.
We do.
That's probably where I would start when we have this conversation. I know that we're going to look at some of the history of your musical experience, your songwriting, and in particular, your live performances where you have a very special rig that you're planning to showcase to people. And a lot of interesting equipment and the way in which you've integrated that all into your music. So why don't we start off by talking about the very sort of beginnings of your musical career.
Well, started off singer-songwriter, just acoustic guitar, learning songs. I think the YouTube wasn't out yet, but Ultimate Guitar Tabs was. And I was really inspired by some guys in my high school. A select few would bring their guitars to school and would just jam with each other, like at lunch and during break and stuff like that. And I was just so intrigued by that. So it was just pure jealousy that got me playing guitar. So I would bring my guitar to school once I started learning a few chords and took it from there. So
William Aberhart, is that the school?
No, actually, that was later in life. I was big into softball back in the day, and I moved to Alberta to play ball in my last year of high school. This was in Mount Baker. I got the bug for learning how to play guitar, and then it just kind of like went from there. I went to college and was playing a little bit there and got inspired by some other artists there, and really wanted to zero in on it when I got home from school and just kind of blossomed with different instruments from there.
Well, the first time I heard you play, I think, was out at Mayook.
Oh yeah.
At one of the events out there during the summer.
Yeah.
It was lots of fun, and you were playing guitar and singing some songs that you had written and jamming with people. You could see the seeds right at the beginning there, something that I think is going to turn into a great career for you. And of course, along those lines, you actually have produced 3 albums,
yeah.
Right? And where did that start?
Well, I started writing fairly quickly. I was approached by a fellow that ran his own company, mixing and mastering and recording people, and he took a song that I wrote and I think I put it on the internet, and he added a whole bunch of stuff to it. He's like, "Hey Heather, we want to work together," and that's kind of where the road stared. And then
so that's
this is the first one.
This is the first album here called The Road, yeah. And there were some good cuts on there, some really interesting songs. Moving on from there, you had worked on a second album as well, led to a big performance that you had at Key City Theatre with,
that's right, that was
with
super
other
fun,
groups,
yeah.
Right? And that was your Black Queen days.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Black Queen days?
Yeah, so after this album came out, I needed a band. So I kind of formed a band with Ray Garreau and Paul Bouchard at the time, rest his soul, and then started playing way more rock and roll. And because that was kind of where I was leaning, but I was just kind of a girl with guitar back then. Playing, I think, electric guitar
Black
solo.
Stratocaster,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was.
So
yeah.
anyway, and then we formed a band, and then pumped out original music and some covers and stuff, and played in bars and things like that, and playing those songs, and then that went on to Peaks and Valleys, and met Brian Knorr, and he was a huge part of it. And you produced this album in your studio.
Well, we helped a little.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of where it sounds to me like, as well, you started to kind of grow out of that rock and roll into other genres as well.
That's right, yeah. So all these transitions.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Because there were a few songs that were kind of, not to say that they didn't belong in the record, but they were
genre
different.
bending, yeah,
they
totally.
they were different than some of the more up-tempo rock style.
Yeah.
So you moved from, I guess, playing a lot of electric guitar to then into other instruments.
Yeah, when I moved to Kimberley, there was a whole bunch of buddies of mine that would go to this camp, this week-long music camp called Nimble Fingers Old Time and Bluegrass Workshop. It was like Disneyland for musicians. And I'm like, well, I don't play bluegrass. I wonder what instrument should I learn that I could maybe put into my own stuff too. And so I heard Keith Larson play the dobro at the Marysville pub with Elena Young in a bluegrass ensemble. I'm like, wow, that's so cool, that slide guitar. I've always loved the sound of slide guitar. And So I picked the dobro and borrowed a guitar my first year, Brian Knorr's National Steel actually. And yeah, and then so started learning the dobro, and then that later translated to like picking up the lap steel and keeping it in the same tuning because I was dabbling with tunings and.
Right, so you actually have your lap steel here today.
I do, yeah.
Right, and that's part of one of the things that we're hoping to hear from you.
Yeah, there's years where I was just kind of playing. I would always play along with people with the dobro. It's an accompanying instrument. You don't generally see it like on its own. So it accompanies. So, and then to a point I was like, man, I never play my lap. Whenever it comes to my turn in a jam, I would always say pass. And I was sick of saying pass. So I'm like, I should learn some songs start to finish with the dobro. And then it just didn't sound quite right until I got the lap steel. And I was playing with alderbash at the time, and the dobro just feeds back like crazy. The cone in it just feeds back in live settings. So I got the lap steel, cranked some distortion, no feedback, super fun, and along the way I learned the banjo while I was going to this bluegrass camp. I think I went about 6 times. It's awesome.
So you, when you picked up the banjo,
yeah.
Was it a clawhammer style or other style?
Well, the first time I was like, man, I should play banjo too, because the G tuning of the dobro, and generally G is the tuning of like a standard banjo tuning. I'm like, I play with finger picks. I should play bluegrass banjo. I tried, and it just didn't flow for me. I find that the clawhammer lended itself to being able to sing along with it better. And so then Annie Heffer was playing clawhammer, and she was playing in this double C tuning. I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Like it can sound really spooky and sound really pretty in just with the different ways you play it. So I hopped onto the clawhammer double C tuning train, and I haven't been able to put it down since. I love clawhammer guitar, or clawhammer banjo and clawhammer guitar.
Okay.
You can play clawhammer guitar too a little bit.
So that leads us a little bit into this next album here, which is the One Light Town album. And the diversity it really shows, but it also shows a real personal side of you.
Yeah.
So fascinated to hear some of the songs, particularly when you added ideas about One Light Town and the small town in the mountains, which is sort of everybody's nirvana. For the people who come and live here. Totally. You know, they love being here, and your music really seems to me to really reflect a lot of what's going on. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about the album, and in particular maybe about how winter sports and skiing and what happened at Northstar and how that played into your
totally.
work.
This one's definitely more of a concept album than the other two. And the difference is that like there was other artists performing on these two, really good artists that I wasn't at that level. They backed me up a ton, especially Brian Knorr on here. But this album I did 100%. All the tracks are I recorded them in my own studio, so that's what you're hearing. And yeah, the image on the front is and Mikey Heffer designed the cover, and I got him to take our town and then put the ski hill behind it with that little flame on top. That's indicating the terrible arson that happened up at Kimberley Alpine Resort during the COVID years. Somebody decided to snowmobile up the backside of the mountain and light the control hut on fire, and it disabled our main chairlift for the entire season. It was terrible. So being a songwriter and a folk artist, it's like we always we take what's happening in the times and put them to music. And so that was my version of describing what happened that night. And it's called Northstar Burnin'. Northstar Mountain, it used to be called Northstar Mountain before it was Kimberley Alpine Resort. And the name of the quad chair is called Northstar Quad. Anyway, so it was kind of a depiction. It was super sad. It was a really sad song because it was a really sad thing. But I feel like somebody needed to write it. So anyway, I wrote Northstar Burnin', and then that was that ended up on the album. And it actually, I submitted right at that time. There was that Searchlight contest. I seen it come up in my newsfeed with the CBC. I'm like, well, shoot, this is a song that that kind of resonated with a lot of people. At least the messages that came in after I released the little YouTube video, just me playing in my studio. And so I'm like, shoot, I should record that one for realsies and make a video about it. And so made a decent video with Lucas Nemeth. And and then...
Well, and didn't that become the People's Choice?
I submitted the song and then did this, vote for me for it was like 10 days in a row where I was like, vote for me, and people did, and I was so thankful because I won the voters' choice. There was 3 of us that got to win. 2 were Ontario bands, and then little old me out in the East Kootenays, because everybody helped me out with some votes, and then that translated to a lot of good things happened after that. It was good, winning the prize money and stuff like that. And good shows. Yeah, so a lot of opportunities happened after Northstar burning.
Tell us a little bit about some of those shows that you've played.
Well, this last summer, so it was kind of COVID times when that song kind of came out. So things were opening up again after that, and Wapiti was a really great festival this last year, and
that's in Fernie.
Fernie, yeah,
right?
Fernie Wapiti Music Festival. And then the big one, which was such a letdown, but it was still really exciting to be a part of, was the Salmon Arm Roots and Blues Festival, which I would go to like...
It got smoked out.
They got smoked out. The fires were so bad, so close by. The smoke was so thick and it was so dangerous. That many thousands of people in one area, they just decided to call it off. They did one night of it. There was a massive power outage that took out the power of like 3 cities all within that same night. And so they were out of power for Friday, and then they were able to put on some music for sure. But then they canceled it the next day. So I was due to perform 3 performances, two workshops, one for a tribute to the band, and Robbie Robertson just passed away like a couple weeks before, so that would have been really meaningful. And then one for Gordon Lightfoot. And I had a bunch prepared, and then my performance day on Sunday. So that getting canceled was definitely, it was such a letdown. But like, I can't complain because it's like, my house wasn't burning down. Like, beggars can't be choosers. It was a terrible thing for everybody. Being canceled is, whatever. Things still happening.
So when you went out to do those performances more recently, you've obviously made some inroads into your equipment and your gear, what you like to play with, how you blend this stuff together. And we've got a few examples here of that you kind of brought out to show us. The fact that you have really started to play the harmonica, some serious harmonica playing. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your harmonicas? You've got this unique rig that you're wearing actually around your neck is one of them.
Yeah.
And that you were telling me about before we got started here tonight. So yeah, I'd be very interested. I think the audience would love to know a little bit about this interesting stuff.
What the heck is this, eh? So when I was going to Nimble Fingers, that bluegrass camp, harmonica is kind of the ugly duckling instrument of folk music and bluegrass music. It's not really welcome there, nor is percussion instruments. So my foot drums, that came after. So I kind of pushed the harmonica aside for quite a few years. I always brought them with me, but it wasn't until I started, I'm like, man, I've seen these online. I've seen Steve Mariner had a really cool wooden rig I saw at the Caslo Jazz Fest, and I looked into it, and some companies make them, and I've had this green bullet harmonica microphone for like a decade, and I very rarely use it because my hands you got to hold it. My hands are busy playing my instrument.
It kind of looks like an instrument of destruction. It's amazing, actually. But yeah, that harmonica from Shure has been around for many years, haven't they?
Yeah, it's iconic.
And everybody has used it, but you've now transitioned to a more kind of modern system, haven't you?
So this is the vacuum cleaner attachment you use to vacuum the stairs with. It definitely didn't fit in there very good because it was like, I have zap straps here, they would cut my mouth, and always a little bit of a struggle getting it in there. And so I transitioned to this beautiful, innovative piece of technology called the Racket 2.0, made from Blows Me Away Productions out of California. And this is kind of what I was mimicking. And basically this is called a Bulletini. This is a Bulletini microphone. So look at the size difference between the green bullet and the Bulletini. And it's got a volume control too. And these side pieces come out too, so you can even change the tone there. But the beauty of it is that the harmonica slides in like this and then sits on the rack, which is an innovation as well, because it's just it's a magnet. So when you're changing harmonicas, like in a band scenario and the next song's coming up, I don't want to be screwing around trying to wiggle my harmonica into my green bullet vacuum cleaner attachment thing. So
you're going to demo that for us tonight,
yeah,
right?
I totally will. Yeah,
that'd be great. Okay.
Yeah.
And a couple of other things very interesting is that sitting down here on the floor, We have some beautiful wooden items here. A couple of size of cajones. Do you want to explain a little bit of cajones? Because cajones occupy a really important kind of part of your performance, don't they?
Totally, they do. So I did a bathroom renovation at my house, and there was these old drawers that I took, and I mounted a couple microphones to the inside of them. So one had a microphone in it with nothing, and then the other one had a microphone in it with a tambourine mounted to the top of it. And I would stand on them and tap my toes to get the boom and the chuck. And that was super fun. But my dad is a very accomplished cabinet maker by trade, and he's retired. And he's like, man, we got to figure out a way to join forces, Dad. You know, he's got a great ear, but he's never been a musician. And so with his artistry and how he can, you know, build cabinets so beautifully, I'm like, Dad, can you start making cajones? And maybe I can play cajones instead of tapping my toes on a box. And so, yeah, he made me, the first couple were cajones just like this, and I would bring two with me. And instead of tapping my toes, I would be tapping my heels with a kick, and the kick would hit the cajones, mounted microphones in each of them. And from there, it just kind of blossomed into a whole bunch of percussion instruments Dad makes. So makes
I love that.
So that'll go on your toe.
Right, on your
I've got one on
foot.
on my kick too, but toe tambourines. This is a Butterbox Junior, we call it, for little kids. Or you could play it just on your lap, but kids can play on that. And then he makes washboards out of recycled tomato cans from the restaurant I play in quite often, Stonefire, and bottle cap tambourines too. So
I imagine people were looking at this and wondering what it is. So let's talk about this for a second.
This is I always quiz people when I'm holding this. I'm like, what do you think this is? And some people think it's like a flask or some sort of like weed smoking device, but it's actually a didgeridoo. So
originally from the Aboriginal people of Australia, right?
That's right. Yeah, so I just use it to warm up my vocals. So I was a big fan of Xavier Rudd for a while there, and I tried. Dad actually rigged up my didgeridoo on a tripod, and I tried playing along with it. It just didn't match my style, but I still love playing the didgeridoo. And you'll see, if you come to a gig of mine, then you'll see me out the back playing this didgeridoo just to warm up my vocals, and that's what this is.
Give us a good segue here to talk about what you're going to play tonight.
Yeah, well, I want to highlight all three instruments I play, I guess four. So I'm going to play a bit of banjo. It's almost Halloween, so I'll play my spookiest song, Pretty Polly, and that has a cool, these Seidel harmonicas are fabulous because the harmonica is kind of off limits in certain tunings because you're limited to the Richter scale. And so these are tuned, a couple of them are tuned special for my banjo tuning that I play in. So then I'll play a couple that show off my B flat with the easy third there, and then I'll play a little bit of blues. I'll play on the guitar, and then some folk stuff on the guitar, and show you some of the pedals that I play and reasons why I have the pedals the way they are. And then I'll play a little bit of lap steel, which has become a big part of my show. It's always worth bringing all three, I found, because it's a lot of work to haul stuff around, but if you don't use it, you lose it. So that's one of the reasons I got to start learning songs start to finish with the dobro, because if I don't and I'm just playing solo, then I'll start to forget stuff. So
I think everybody's looking forward to hearing some music and some explanations of your rig and stuff. So
yeah,
I think we're going to probably get to that, right? Shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
I'm here on the stage with Heather, Jamie Neve here. We're going to do a rig rundown of all of her equipment, and she's going to play some music for us. What do you got, Heather?
To start off with, this is my Asher lap steel. This is made by Bill Asher outside of California. This is the Electro Hawaiian Junior, and it has been a wonderful instrument. I love this instrument.
That really looks like a power instrument. It's got a couple of humbuckers on it.
Yeah, totally. I almost wanted to upgrade to the Jason Lohler pickups, but I like the way these sound. So I use my lap steel when I'm playing the blues a lot. So I accompany this with my Racket 2.0 harmonica microphone.
So why don't we hear what you got?
Okay.
woman, I'm trouble. I'll be worried about. And I can't be satisfied. And I just can't keep. Oh, I can't be satisfied. Oh, and I just can't keep. Lord, I'll never be satisfied. Oh, and I just can't cry. Oh, no.
Well, right on. That was great. Thank you. So what do you want to show us next?
So basically, I'll show you some of my instruments. I love this instrument. This has totally changed the way that I perform, leaving the dobro behind essentially, unless I'm at an acoustic jam. I'll bring this 100% of the time. So this is my lap steel. I always like to bring it along with me, even though I primarily play mostly covers when I play my lap steel, but I'm gonna be starting to do some writing with it. But whenever I go to a jam, this is my go-to instrument. And this is cool too. See this? This is called the belly, what do they call it? The belly band or something like that. The belly bar.
Right.
And so this is, I had them drill these holes. You can buy this separately and drill the holes in. But this pushes it out so you can play standing up like you would with the dobro.
Okay.
Right? Because generally lap steel is obviously on your lap. So,
yeah.
and it's just way more fun to like stand up and move around. So
Sure.
there's only a few
Right.
companies out there. I think Lap King makes
Right.
something like this. Jerry Douglas uses.
And if
one
you
of
run
those.
it with your wireless setup, you can move
That's
around
right. Yeah,
lots.
I literally move around.
Right.
Yeah, it's when I get off my pedals, it's cool that I'm moving around, but it really brings the punch back when I stand back on the pedals and start kicking again. So yeah, I guess I should talk about introduce the band. I always introduce the band. I'm a one-woman band, so I start with my left foot. My left foot's playing the boom, I call it, and my right foot's playing the chuck. I got
Right.
the boom and I got
From
the
the
chuck.
top. Right.
This is a handmade cajon by my dad Murray, who's a very accomplished cabinet maker, retired cabinet maker by trade. So before I was hauling around 2 cajones and miking both and then placing them, and they'd rock back and forth. It was really uncomfortable. So I'm like, Dad, can you please make me a double chambered cajon? And I got leather handles on the side, 2 kick drum microphone in one, and then just like kind of a basic diatonic microphone in the other one, like a Samson Q8, I believe, and then a Shure kick drum microphone in here. And then I've got one of our Butterbox Cajon foot tambourines as well on this side, but you don't hear it recorded. I have to have a microphone
Separate
to
mic
pick
port.
up
Yes, I see.
stuff. So
Right, I see. Yeah, because you've got the little Sabian symbol there.
yeah, this
And,
is new.
Yeah, and this little CS 1000 or whatever here,
Yeah.
which is a condenser for recording those.
So my basic goal with my pedal board is to try to, like, it's hard being a soloist and bringing this much gear. Like, I don't bring, like, I try to bring as little as I can, but still bring every single instrument with me. So this pedal board accomplishes a whole bunch of things all at once. So I play a clawhammer banjo, an acoustic guitar, and a lap steel, and a harmonica microphone, and the kick drums. So the kick drums go generally directly into the board, and then they're EQ'd on their own. And then all three instruments will go into, this is called the Switchblade Pro, made by Electro Harmonics. And this I can plug, it's basically for either multi-instrumentalists, or it's also a pedal used for when you click the button to make it go in series. It's for musicians that have, say, a giant pedal board and you want to engage multiple effects at the same time, and instead of doing like a tap dance and engaging 3 just like not simultaneously, that's what this pedal is for. Or for a multi-instrumentalist like me, I click over into parallel, and then I can run 1, 2, 3 instruments, all with their own different gain settings, and then I can run into the rest of my pedal chain. And my pedal chain, I use my chromatic tuner, my TU3 as a buffer, and then everything else is just the based on the standard like wah, then distortion, modulation, time-based effects, that sort of thing. And then all of that will go into my RC500, which is my loop station. I don't loop every gig, like at the festivals and like the 60-minute performances or the 45-minute performances. I pretty well just stick to my original songs, like cut and dry kind of thing. I'd maybe love to get there one day, but I feel like there's just not enough time. But when I'm playing like a 2.5, 3 hour long gig, I'll do some of my loop station arrangements, and so then from there, but everything stays the same. For a long time there, I was using a pedal board that things would change. I would put certain pedals on, and then I'd have to coil. It was kind of a janky setup, and I would forget things, or things would come unplugged. This is just so sturdy, and everything, I wired it all up myself, so everything is just stays put. I don't have to worry about things coming loose, although that can still happen sometimes. But anyway, so yeah, it goes, and then so I've got a wah pedal here for when I'm playing just kind of like lap steel stuff, and so I can do some like Jimi Hendrix kind of stuff with this. The Smolder Acoustic Sonnet or Acoustic Overdrive that I engage sometimes with the acoustic guitar, a couple spots where I do like single note attack stuff, but it kind of it can get a little bit muddy, I find, when you're doing like full on, like you don't use cowboy chords with it, like bar chords, or it's kind of all you do with it. Right. And then that'll go into my OC5, my Boss octave pedal. And so I always find with solo acts, it can be a little bit thin. So I like to have the octave pedal engaged for, it doesn't sound the best with the guitar, but for the lap steel and the banjo, it thickens it out so nicely.
I mean, you don't have to push it too hard to make it kind
That's
of
right, yeah.
right?
There's a cool dial here that you can engage. I only have it engaging the lowest, the fattest strings, the 6 and the 5, you know, and it really fattens it up. And then I just turn it off if I'm playing with a band, because that low end is already covered by the bass player. So
I see that you also have a banjo sitting over there.
I got a banjo, Jamie. So this is my Maple Ridge Rickard banjo made by Bill Rickard in Aurora, Ontario. So this is an open back banjo. So there's several different types of banjos out there. Tenor banjos, the banjos with the resonator on the back, that's more bluegrass style. And you play with finger picks and do a lot of rolling. And I play clawhammer banjo. Let me just get this on for a sec. It's a little awkward. And so I do mostly downward strokes. So that means my thumb is always landing on the 5th string, as is for other, like the open or the resonator style. And then I'm always doing downward strokes with the back of my nail. Right. So I can never grow out my nails very well. They just break, and I've got working hands, so they're always getting shredded at work and stuff. So I use this pick. Actually, it's a funny story actually. This is called Fred Kelly picks. It's a banjo pick. And the person that told me about it is the Tim from Shred Kelly. Right. So Shred Kelly plays Fred Kelly picks. Anyway, I always laughed when he told me that. Anyway, so it's
flipped around, like it's normally you would work.
I don't know. You can, yeah. I've tried it playing with a guitar, but yeah, it's definitely sure beats. I would glue fingernails to my fingers because I couldn't grow nails very well. I'd go to manicure places and get them to put on 2 nails, you know, and cure them and stuff like that. So I walk out of there with 2 nails. Everyone looked at me kind of weird. So anyway, I just started using this finger pick, and it was so much better. So anyway, this company, Rickard Banjos, is made, I think it was a one-armed, one-legged man that had a motorcycle accident, and building banjos saved his life after his accident, and now he's got a whole company that builds beautiful banjos. And so this is my Maple Ridge.
And it's a 5-string and tuned
in double C. Yeah,
double C.
I dabble with a few tunings. I dabble with double C, mountain modal. So I'll take my C and turn it to a D, and that turns it into mountain modal or G modal tuning. I also dabble with an F tuning. So I'll capo up and release. I usually have this 5th string capoed with my they're called rails. Railroad spikes. So I'll undo that, and then I'm already in an F tuning. So I play with 3 different tunings, but primarily with double C. Yeah.
So let's hear it.
Yeah, sure. Let's see what harmonica I have on, because each harmonica that I have is in relation to either a different tuning that I play in, or a whatever instrument I'm playing. So this one's a very special harmonica to me because it's tuned to my double C tuning. It's a B flat with an easy 3rd. think there's not a lot of banjo players out there that plays the harmonica. I've looked.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've looked. There's not a ton out there. So. So this guitar is my Martin SE 10E. So the SE stands for the S curve. You notice that this is an asymmetrical body shape.
You're right, for sure.
So it's not a standard like mirror image of of the body. So that's a unique thing. The cutaway here is unique too to this guitar. You see this, how there's like a bevel here. It makes it so you can reach even higher up on the fretboard.
Absolutely.
It's marketed as like the fastest acoustic guitar, so you can play really, really quick. It's a good transition guitar for people that play primarily electric guitars because the action is so low. The ability for this guitar to be adjusted, pretty phenomenal. So living in the Kootenays, the humidity is hard to regulate and stuff like that, and the really cold temperatures. I try to keep my studio at 60% humidity, and I've got a little humidity thing I put it in the sound
guitar,
hole.
for sure.
Yeah, it's got the cross bracing, but it also has this Sure-Align dovetail neck joint, which makes it the most versatile neck to be adjusted. I have to have a Martin specific luthier adjust it, but it'll last me forever no matter what climate I'm in. So that's kind of why I really wanted the SE. And then the 10, there's a 13E as well, which is the higher caliber one. I played them side by side and I really liked the 10 better. It was a little less flashy too, like the black dot instead of like this like turquoise blue one. Sitka spruce top, koa veneer back and sides with a mahogany core and a matrix pickup inside it with it. It's got a tone, roll off the tone knob and a volume control in there. I love it. I love it for live.
Awesome.
So it's been a great guitar. I played nothing but like junk acoustic guitars for a really long time. So after Searchlight, I used my gift certificate to put towards upgrading my pedal board, just the frame of it. The Pedal Train Classic 2 is the frame that the pedal board sits on.
It has the power supply
and the power
built in.
supply, yeah. It's the True Tone 12 is my power supply. And everything comes out of this radial J48 stereo DI box too. And so this Switchblade Pro, I can turn off my harmonica microphone, so I can keep it on but not have to worry about it picking up all the sound and stuff like that. So for a song that I'm not playing the harmonica, I'll turn it off completely. But let's do like a little, like a time where I would use my Smolder acoustic box here for my acoustic guitar would be something like this.
It's your average night, streets are lit up bright, neons buzzing like a bee. The sounds in the rooms beeping and blaring tunes, booze is flowing like a spring stream. And it's the adult playground and everybody's got the game there. Yeah, whoa. Ooh, yeah. into a crowded room with her head held high. Yeah, she slams the door. Everyone turns to see she's beautiful. What a sight. Recipe, but she's got something cooking tonight. Well, she takes a seat, chips up her money, posts her blind with a smile. Yeah, she's acting cool, has to refresh the rules and all day. Bats her eyes. Well, she asks if it's her turn, but she knows that it's her turn. She's got some tricks up her sleeve. She's not afraid to be mean. She's a black
That really shows that guitar's capacity, particularly working up the neck. That was great.
Yeah,
Thank
it's a fast guitar. A lot of these old songs that we recorded a long time ago, to keep the same shapes, I'm capoing up like 3 steps and having to play up there because rather than rewrite the song into different chord shapes and stuff like that, it's just easier to throw the capo on.
Yeah, and those are good shapes.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, really.
That's it. So like, I'll generally be clean, except for like a song like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but this guitar can also do really pretty things too. I love using a partial capo. I think you have one of these, hey?
Yeah, I sure do.
Did you make your own or did you buy it?
The first one I made, and I was able to buy another one. But I've also used it when you can flip it over, depending on the shape of your guitar, and just use the back side. And so then you have just the 3 strings covered.
So here's I'll throw on this Keeley Hydra here and get nice and full. There we go. Sparkly. Really trippy sounding. Little shimmer on it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Let's grab a low E. So I didn't know what to call this, so I'm calling it partial creak because it's a partial capo. So it can be super pretty.
Very nice.
And then the same tuning can be like, the like can get really dirty and grungy too.
Sure, yeah.
That's where the I throw on a E, F, G, A, throw on my A. You could do like a,
Trying to shorten everything. It was a cold night in a mountain town. Darkness fell as the smoke floats down. Devil was waiting in between the trees with a matchbook and some gasoline. Gasoline. The world's divided into right and left, and the bystanders and the anarchists. No angels left here to stand on guard while evil rips through the faint of heart. Through the faint of heart. Mountain is burning through the wind and the snow. Hidden billows of smoke rise, the town sleeping below. Oh, Northstar is burning, flames light up the sky. Heartbeat of the town flickers out by the pale moonlight. Snowcat climbs gonna ease our pain while the arsonist hasn't got a name. But right about on a rail he can take his turn, set fire to his house and he can watch it burn, burn. He can watch it burn, burn. And he can watch it burn. Northstar is burning through the wind and the snow. Hidden billows of smoke rise, the town sleeping below. Oh, Northstar's on fire, flames light the sky. Heartbeat of the town flickers out by the pale moonlight. Northstar is burning through the wind and the snow. Hidden billows of smoke rise, the town sleeping below. Oh, Northstar's on fire, flames light the sky. Heartbeat of the town flickers out by the pale moonlight. Your heartbeat of the town flickers out by the pale moonlight. Heartbeat of the town flickers out by the pale moonlight.
That's a hell of a song.
Thanks, man.
You know,
Partial capo.
that's a great song.
I had to rewrite it because of this partial capo, because I was tuning to dadgat every time and it
Oh, okay.
sucked.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, no, that sounds good that way for sure. Anyway, so, and I think that you've kind of followed it up with something new.
That's
haven't
right,
you?
yeah. My bandmate,
Right.
Ryan Peterson of Alderbach,
Yeah.
he's like, Heather, you gotta write a follow-up song to Northstar Burnin'.
Right.
Now that the chair is fixed and call it Northstar Turnin'. So I wrote it like a weekend. I was like, that's such a great idea. So, because the chair is fixed, took a whole year for me to fix it. And in Kimberley Alpine Resort, we do a lot of sun pitting.
Sure.
Hanging out on the little side spots, you know, and having a few beers and whatever.
The bald spot. I think
Yeah, the bald spots and stuff, yeah. And the sun hits just nice. So this is kind of like a tribute song to all of the fun that we have in the sun pits and just the joy of spring skiing. And it's called Northstar Turn. So I reference the fire, but in a fun and silly way, if you can. You know, it's such a terrible, terrible thing. How do you bring it up without, you know?
Well, it's kind of a renewal, right? So.
Totally, yeah. I've run through the whole thing, I guess.
Sun's rising up in this mountain town. 600 volts coming through the ground. I got the first tracks of the day. I'll tell you what is worth the wait. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. Only thing up here been burning out my legs. Oh, before the day is done, we'll ride the twilight setting sun. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. Whiskey Jack been buzzing around my head. Sun's beating down, my cheeks are red. Not a cloud up in the sky will hit the stem winder tonight. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. Only smoke up in the air's from this blue day. Oh, before the day is done, we'll ride the twilight setting sun. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. Red plates rolling in everywhere. They're choking up the lines to every chair. It don't matter 'cause the heartbeat of this town is pulsing round and around. Yeah, Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. Only fireballs on the mountains, my whiskey dread. Oh, before the day is done, we'll ride the twilight setting sun. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. Better get your ticket and ride on melt away. Oh, before the day is done, we'll ride the twilight setting sun. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. It's a bluebird day. Oh, ain't no such thing as friends on a powder day. Oh, before the day is done, I'm on a poacher powder run. 'Cause Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird. Smile, you're on camera, it's a bluebird. Northstar's turning, it's a bluebird.
Well, everybody, that's been fantastic. Really great to have a look at the rig, all the different items that are part of Heather's show. Thank you very much for the performance. It was really excellent. Just looking forward to what happens next in your career. So thanks again, and everybody stay tuned because we'll be back again with another show very soon.